Hi, Jesse Crosby, the Safe Guru. Today we're going to be discussing the electronic lock versus manual lock versus redundant lock. So you now have three options on your safe, whereas for the last 20-25 years you typically chose a manual or an electronic. So the important thing about the electronic lock is it's missold quite a bit. Majority of manufacturers tell you that it's quicker access, you can change the combination whenever you want. All that is factual, there's no debating that. But they never tell you the cons. And some of the biggest cons in the electronic lock, is EMP, solar flare, solenoid failure is very common. And then on top of that, majority of these manufacturers only offer a 2-year warranty. So once that electronic lock malfunctions or quits, you, the consumer, is responsible for the locksmith to come out and drill it and put a new lock on it. And typically that's anywhere from $500 to $700. So you really need to take that into consideration, especially when you're purchasing the electronic lock, because I can't emphasize enough, majority of these manufacturers do not warranty the electronic lock on their product. Again, I like the Knox product because they lifetime warranty electronics. However, if it were to go bad, you're not going to be out any money, but you could be down time. So I'm going to kind of go over what's preferred, what I would recommend, and then ultimately the decision comes to you. So the most popular method of getting into the safe is the manual dial. There's no electronic components, it will work forever, and you're not going to hear that statement from the electronic lock side of things. Dial locks have been around since the late 1800s and continue to be used today. 70% of my customer base prefers manual over electronics. So then, if you don't choose the manual, you can go with most manufacturers offer an electronic lock, which takes the place of the dial. Again, the issue with this is, if this goes bad, you're waiting for a locksmith, and more than likely the safe is going to have to be drilled at your expense. So I prefer the manual over the electronics. Within the last 3 or 4 years, there's been a lot of manufacturers. Knox was the first to come out with what's called the redundant lock. The redundant lock is real popular. As a matter of fact, I don't sell any safes with just electronics anymore. Majority of my customers, either 70% go with the manual, the other 30% go with the redundant. So the advantage to the redundant is I have the quick access of the electronic, but my primary is still the dial. So if the electronic were to fail, or I had a solar flare or an EMP or solenoid failure, I can simply come down here and run my combination through the dial and I'm in. It's a more expensive option. However, I get the best of both worlds, and this safe would never have to be drilled, simply because if the electronic lock goes bad, rather than have to drill it, once you get in through the dial, the back can be taken off and I can put a new electronic lock on, keypad on, in less than 5 minutes. So this is fairly new technology, fairly popular, but ultimately the decision comes down to you and what you can afford. Thank you.